Hello and welcome to episode number 4 of the Soggy Kookaburra podcast, which is my little place on the internet where I get to talk about my knitting and my crochet adventures. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome aboard the crafty train, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for tuning in again. Today is Sunday, the 8th of July, and I've got to tell you, it is absolutely roasting again today. The UK at the moment is experiencing probably the hottest spring summer for like 40 years or something crazy like that. And we are all melting. Even with my Australian blood, I'm melting. Our houses here are not designed for hot weather. So because of that, I haven't been doing a lot of knitting and crochet, as you will see from the limited content today. A little bit about me. My name's Kathy. I'm coming to you from a small town in North Wales. I live here with my husband, our teenage son, and our 2 cats, Pickle and Puka. You can find me on Ravelry as Kiltar, and if you'd like to subscribe, there's a little bell button down the bottom and you'll get a little notification whenever I upload. I try and upload a video once a month. If you've got any questions or you'd like to make a comment, please do. The comment bar is down below, and all the links and descriptions of what I'm going to talk about will be in the description box. Again, down below, so check it out if you'd like. So on to the crafty content. As I said, haven't been particularly doing a lot of knitting and crochet. It has been ridiculously warm and I haven't been terribly well either. So we're pretty limited, but I do have 2 finished objects, both foot related, you'll be surprised to hear. So first up, and these have been on the needles for far too long, so a massive apology to my sister Laura, because she's been waiting for these. The Hermione's Everyday Socks. So these are the first time I've done the Hermione pattern. I know every woman and her mother has done them, so I thought I might as well. And you can see they are finally complete. They look a bit funny on my sock blocker because my sock blocker's not quite big enough. I need to get bigger sock blockers. That's on my birthday list, I think. So it's King Cole Zig-Zag 4-ply, and the colourway is 1252 Rainbow. You can see it's got the pinks and the blues and the oranges and the browns. So these are now ready to go off to Melbourne, where they are suffering a very cold winter, ironically. So they're going to go off in the post very shortly for my sister, and hopefully she likes them and hopefully they fit. They should do, because they're just ever so slightly too big for me and her foot is ever so slightly bigger than mine. So fingers crossed. Now, talking of the cold Melbourne weather, I got to thinking, do you remember the Outlander shawl that I showed you last episode? The grey, really pretty grey lace shawl that I crocheted. Well, anyway, I had probably about 70 grams left of that yarn, and it was the Rico Design Creative Soft Wool Aran yarn. Really lovely yarn. It's got enough wool in it to stop it feeling, you know, acrylic can sometimes feel a bit sticky, can't it? It doesn't feel sticky. It's lovely and soft and it's very warm. Probably not what I should have been working with for the last few weeks. Anyway, I decided my lovely sister also deserved some little ballet slipper sock things. So I don't know whether you can see the pretty design on that. So this pattern is called the Sunday Ballet Slipper. It's crocheted, obviously. It's by Ashley at Hooked Heart Home. Sorry, it's not. It's Ashley at Heart Hook Home. I'll put the link to her pattern. It's a free crochet pattern online. It's in American terms, which always throws me, but there you are. But yeah, it's just a really nice, simple, I'd seen it on Pinterest, I think, and really liked it. And done in this yarn, it's so toasty warm. I tried them on, I had to take them off immediately because they're far too warm for this weather. But yeah, so I actually finished, and there's actually 2 of them. It's not just the one, but 2 of them. Really quick make as well, to be honest. Probably if I just sat down and actually done them, rather than bits and pieces here and there, I probably could have done the pair in about 3 hours tops. I did have to go down quite a lot of hook sizes to get gauge. My crochet is very loose, always has been, and I don't know, I have tried to tighten it up, but it always goes back to that really loose crochet. So I think the pattern called for a 4.5mm hook, and I ended up, to get gauge, I ended up using a 2.5mm hook. But, you know, it worked. It just meant I had to do a couple of do-overs to get it right. But anyway, so hopefully they will go off with the socks to Laura. Hopefully they fit. Hopefully they'll be nice and warm to, you know, scoot around the house in. So yeah, they're my 2 finished objects. Just bear with me. I can't believe I'm drinking coffee in this weather, but very good. So, works in progress. Other than working on the socks, I've really been trying to catch up on my Fandom knit-along Reyna shawl. So, I showed you last episode, I think I did. Yeah. So the pattern is the Reyna shawl, and that's by Noora Backlund. And as I mentioned last episode, this is part of a knit along that I'm doing with a group of other nerdy knitters on Facebook. It's my first attempt at lace knitting as well. Now, you're not really going to be able to see it because it is on a big circular needle, but you can get an idea of how it's coming along. Let's see. So I think I've got 2 more lace sections with the garter in between before it's finished. It's coming out really beautifully. Now, this yarn is Tibentan 4-ply, and it's 70% superwash merino and 20% yak and 10% nylon. And you know what? I don't know whether it's the yak in it, but it just drapes really beautifully. I have a feeling that when I wear this in the winter, because it's not scratchy, it's going to fall really nicely. But yeah, so it's getting there. It is a long, slow process, but I've learned a lot, and it's kind of not. It's been a nice introduction to lace knitting, even though it's quite a simple lace pattern. It's nothing complicated. It's what it's shown me is that actually I can do it. I just need to like take my time and, you know, just read the instructions. Not rocket science, is it? So anyway. So that's coming along. I am about 2 weeks behind the knit along. As I say, haven't been doing a lot of crafting this last month. Yeah, so we've got 1 more week to go. So I really want to crack on and try and get it finished by the deadline, which I think is the end of next week. So yeah, but that is coming along very nicely indeed. And thankfully I'm not going to run out of yarn. I don't like playing yarn chicken. That's not my favourite thing to do. So that is, of course, being kept in my I'm Really a Mermaid bag, which is just the right size for it. So yes, there we go. So that's that one. And the other project that I have been very intermittently working on is Stu's Sockhead beanie hat in that sparkly blue bag. I am just about now, I've just used almost the last of the first ball of yarn, and I am just about up to the decreases because it says to do 9.5 inches of ribbing and then stockinette. So I think I'm just about there. I just need to measure his head though, because Stu has a lot of hair. He's got very, very thick hair. So I might even just go an extra 1/2 inch just to, before I start the decreases, just to give him that bit of extra bulk. And it doesn't matter if it's a bit slouchier than perhaps the pattern calls for. So that's the other one that again, it's kind of very much top of my priority list to get done. I don't have any other socks on the go at the moment because usually they're my priority. So I want the shawl done and I want the Sockhead hat done before next podcast. That's the plan. I'm going to get those finished. I also have, the other reason I really want to finish this hat as well is I also have some really pretty self-striping patterned sparkly purple yarn. I want to make a hat for myself. And I can't do that. I only have the one set of needles that are the right size. So I just want to crack on and make my own one. Now, I have been very, very good this month and not purchased anything yarn related, which is probably a good thing because I have more than I could ever use, frankly. Anyway, so I thought instead of a stash enhancement section, I would just do a bit of a stash show and tell section. So yeah, here are just a few of the many balls of yarn that I've got. Now this is from my, this is from my sock stash. So I keep my yarn, sorry, it's really hot. I keep my yarn all quite organised, so I've got boxes for sock yarn and boxes for fancy yarns and boxes for Aran weight and so on and so forth. And I just had a bit of a rifle through my sock yarn stash because that is my go-to sort of yarn really. I tend to use 4-ply sock yarn quite a bit now. So I'm going to start off with, and you guys may have seen this before, you probably have, West Yorkshire Spinners. So West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply was my first real introduction to commercial sock yarn. And one of the things I really loved about it was the range of colours. So I love brights, as we've discussed previously, as you can see from my clothing today. I'm wearing, I don't know, you probably can't see, but it's all tie-dyed, very colourful. I kind of match the yarn that I'm holding. So one of the things I really love about West Yorkshire Spinners, not only is it UK, which is great, this Blueface Leicester, you know, it's all produced in the UK, but they do great colours. And my favourite range at the moment is the Cocktail range, which I think came out in 2017, might have even been the year before though. So I got one of every colour in the range, of course. You've seen the Mojito, which is the green stripy one that I did my brother's socks in last episode. And I've made my mum a pair. I also got, I can't even remember the name of it, but it's purple and green stripes. And I actually sent that to my mum and she made her first pair of socks using that. But the 3 balls that I've got left are, these are all self-striping as well. Pink Flamingo. Now, I'm not a big pink wearer generally, but I think I may be able to make an exception for this because they're going to be candy striped, you know, like fairy floss colours. Isn't that pretty? So that's Pink Flamingo, which I don't know whether it's got a number as well. No, I'm just going. It's Pink Flamingo. If you look it up online, West Yorkshire Spinners, Pink Flamingo. There's Blue Lagoon. Now this is the yarn that my son has chosen for his winter socks. So for Christmas, I'll be putting this on the needles. Well, actually, I've got 2 balls of it. So that will be his Christmas socks. It's Blue Lagoon. And then possibly my favourite is Rum Paradise. Rum Paradise. It's not quite gay pride colours, but it's close enough. I did make, what did I make? I made something out of this. Who did I make it for? I can't remember. I crocheted it though, and the colour, the striping didn't quite work. So, yeah, I really can't remember who I made that for. Terrible. Anyway, so that is very high on my list of really want to use this yarn because I just love the colours. It's just fantastic. I really want to make some socks out of that. And if I go down this route of making shorty socks, I might be able to get 2 pairs of socks out of that because I think I've got a half ball of this somewhere. Haha, plans. Again, it needs to cool down though before I do any more casting on because it's just too hot. So yeah, that's West Yorkshire Spinners. Highly recommend it. It's not the softest yarn to work with, but it does soften up after washing, and one thing I really like about it is it wears very well. It's really sturdy, so you can make everyday socks out of it and it will last. It's because it's superwash merino, you can wash it up to 30 degrees Celsius in the machine. Just don't put them in the dryer. Bad news for the dryer. That's happened once. I got very cranky. It wasn't pretty. But anyway, so there you go. The one of the other brands that again, commercial sock yarn that I've come across, and I've made a couple of pairs of socks out of this brand, though obviously not these colours, and it's the Opal Viridian brand. So this one is called Kim. Now it's similar to the Zig-Zag in that it makes stripes, but patterned stripes. And I don't think you're going to be able to see. Maybe you will. I can't see whether you can see. That's kind of what it's supposed to look like. You really can't see, sorry, that's really blurry. So that's Kim, and this one is Thelma, and it's in sort of purples and yellows. And do you know, the reason I really like these is because it's a bit of a surprise. Even though they've got the little picture on the, yeah, it doesn't really tell you what it's going to look like. And I love it, especially those first few pattern repeats where you're just not sure what's going to come next and how it's going to look. Yeah, I like that. That's a bit exciting for me. Unfortunately, I do get bored quite quickly. So by the end of the first sock, I'm over it. So over it. And I never want to use that colorway again. And then I have to make the second sock. Ah, second sock syndrome. So bad. It's not just me, right? Not just me. So, yeah, so it's Kim and Thelma. They are... I love this. It says wool from Happy Sheep from Germany. There you go, Happy Sheep in Germany. And it's 75% virgin wool and 25% polyamide for both of those. So yeah, Thelma and Kim. So yeah, they're kind of, again, they're very much on my list, particularly that one, because it's got the pinks and the purples. And then last, but by no means least, is this little beauty. It's a hand-dyed skein of yarn. So I won this in a competition about 6 months ago, 9 months ago now probably. And it's from a company called Up North Yarns. There's the tag. And they're based in the US of A. And the colourway is called Cherry Bomb. And it's superwash, merino and nylon blend, 100 grams, fingering sock weight. And yeah, it's kind of cool. I don't know what I'm going to make this into. I don't think it'll be socks. I've had it, I don't know, about 9 months. So I've had it a while. It's quite soft. It's not scratchy at all. I don't know. I don't really like socks that are kind of merge into different colours because I can never get them to match. I know I could do 2 at a time, but I'm not going to because I like my 9-inch circular needles far too much. But yeah, so these kind of random colours or even the faded ones, not so keen. I do like my socks to at least vaguely match, even if they're not perfect. You know, I like the cuffs to match and the toes to match. As you can see from, I think I've done a pretty good job on these ones actually. You see, they match. And then down the bottom, more or less match. I have no idea what happened with the heels though. They don't seem to match at all. But anyway, it worked out in the end, however I managed to do that. Moral of the story is I rather like my socks to match in terms of their colourway or their pattern. At some point I will have to do scrappy socks though, which are not going to match because I've just got all these little like 20-gram balls of self-striping yarn in random colours. So I'm going to have to choose those at some point and put together like a magic ball and do scrappy socks. Or possibly something else entirely. Do a scarf or something, I'm not sure. Anyway, I am just rambling now. I think it's the heat, it's got to my brain. It's not good. That is going to be a lot for this week, I'm afraid. I know it's a slightly short episode. Hopefully I will get my knitting and crochet mojo back sooner rather than later. And next month I will have loads of things to show you. Probably lots more works in progress because I'm inevitably going to cast on before I finish anything. I hope that you have a really fantastic month. And as I said earlier in the episode, if you'd like to subscribe and you can get a notification when I do upload a video, there's a little bell button down in the corner there. Great, and I will see you in about a month. Bye.